Can the Sixers save their season? They are 3-13. They are half a game ahead of Washington for the worst record in the league. And obviously, you want to try and be optimistic and say, of course, they could save their season. It's not even Christmas. There's still so much left of the season for them to save. But on the other hand, I just feel like it's like the damage is sort of done in a sense. So there's two reasons why I feel very pessimistic about the Sixers' outlook this season. One is obvious. It's health. It's health. Embiid has missed all but 4 games of the season, including last night's blowout loss to the Clippers. And even in the games he has played, he hasn't looked all that good. Like the former MVP, like one of the 3 to 5 best players in the NBA. Scoring's down, efficiency's down. Paul George also missed a large chunk of the season, is going to miss a bit more at the very least with another bone bruise. And even in the games he did play, scoring and efficiency were both down. Even Tyrese Maxey has missed time, and in the games that he played, scoring was still there, but his three-point shooting has dropped off to below 30%, whereas it was around 37% last season. So your 3 best guys are all missing time, and 2 of those guys, like that's the thing, it's always been about when the Sixers get healthy, when the Sixers get healthy, when the Sixers get healthy, but it's like, are you confident in their ability to get healthy? Because Embiid and Paul George, like, those are 2 guys who have had their health struggles in the past. Embiid specifically. Paul George, to his credit, has played in 70-plus games, I believe, each of the last 2 years. But Embiid, like, we know his history by now. So, like, of course, if they get healthy, then those 3 guys can start to build chemistry, and the entire team as a whole can, I think, fall into the hierarchy that they're intended to, and things can start to look like how you maybe hope. But I just, like, in terms of, like, am I confident that Embiid and Paul George can stay healthy? Like, basically the question is, like, do I think they're not going to miss any more games when they eventually come back? No. Like, forget even, like, rest and maintenance. Like, I do believe they're going to get injured again. I don't want to believe it, but, like, that's just how I feel. So, like, if those 2 guys aren't going to get healthy and the Sixers have already dug themselves such a massive hole, 10 games under 500, like, how are things supposed to get better? How are they supposed to build the chemistry and the cohesion that they need? How many games have the big 3 played together? At least 1, only 1. I don't know if it's less than 5. I know that because Embiid's only played in 4 games on the season. But just like that's obviously the biggest thing. But I think the other reason why I'm not so confident about the Sixers' outlook on the season is that I'm sure by now you've seen the report that came out from Shams about how the Sixers had a team meeting. And within that team meeting, it was revealed that Tyrese Maxey called Joel Embiid out for always being late to things. And that in and of itself is obviously not a good look from your best player. Like, you want the best player to set the tone. Best player who I believe just signed a max extension. You always want that guy to set the right tone, and always being late to things is definitely not the right tone you want to set. So that in and of itself is a really bad look and does not speak well of the Sixers' habits and the culture that they have. But to me, the more alarming thing was the report that came out either like a day or 2 after, where Embiid was basically asked about it, and he said, like, he didn't take accountability for it. He didn't say, you're right, I need to be better, I appreciate Tyrese Maxey calling me out. He literally was just like, I don't know who leaked this, I'm so pissed, that person's a bitch. Like, he was like pissed that it got leaked. And like, to me, that just speaks so much to like where Embiid's head is at and where his priorities are at. And it's funny, I made a video over the summer talking about how I don't like calling out a guy's mentality because it's not, there's no real way to prove it. Like, it's not a quantifiable stat that I can say, hey, he's not doing well in this. But I said at the time over the summer with some of the things Embiid said as part of Team USA, like, it just doesn't feel like he gets it. Like, he has the right mentality needed to be the best player on a championship team. And I rewatched it, like, right before filming this video, and I was like, yeah, like, it still feels that way. And then you see, like, a quote like this where, like, in this moment of, like, people are looking at you because you're clearly doing something wrong, for you to not take accountability and for you to not publicly apologize and sort of own up to it, but instead try to, like, point the finger and be mad at whoever leaked it. Like, that just speaks volumes to just, like, who you are and like, where your priorities are, and not in a good way. So I just feel like, of course, the Sixers have all these health struggles that they need to overcome, but I feel like even if they overcome that massive mountain, which, again, I don't think is going to happen because if you think of the injury-prone nature of both Embiid and Paul George, I don't really know how they overcome that mindset from Embiid, where it just, like, again, just everything he says, it just doesn't make me feel like he's the kind of leader who can lead a guy to a championship. And when I say this, know this, please prove me wrong, Joel Embiid. Please, I don't like to say this as if I'm rooting for him to fail. I mean, I guess if he plays the Knicks, okay, sure, but, like, I don't say these things to be proven right. Like when I criticize a guy, like, please prove me wrong. Please be the leader the Sixers have always wanted you to be. Please lead this team to the championship that their fan base so desperately deserves and has been hoping and praying for long before the process. I just, like, I'll happily be proven wrong, and I'll happily make a video admitting I'm wrong. I don't know if I see it from him with everything that comes out of his mouth. Like, just not taking accountability, not taking blame. So the Sixers can get as healthy as they want, which again is already a massive mountain to overclimb. But like, until Embiid changes his mentality, where stuff like that, like he's like not taking accountability for being late. He also said something about how, like, you know, it's tough because he doesn't always know what's going on the court. Well, maybe you should play in more games, which, okay, like maybe he is legitimately injured, but like, you know, the maintenance back-to-back stuff, that was a whole controversy about how maybe he should push himself more to play in those games. But like that's not a good look for you. Like, why are you admitting that? You think like we're not, if you don't know what's going on, we're not necessarily going to blame Nick Nurse. We're going to blame you. Like, why don't you know what's going on the court? Like, that's not the, like, point in your favor that you think it is. So, like, Sixers can get as healthy as they want. Until that side of Embiid changes, I don't know if the Sixers' outlook, you know, in terms of, like, maybe they could get to the playoffs, or maybe they could get back, you know, to the second round or whatnot. But, like, until Embiid's mentality changes, I don't think the Sixers' outlook is going to change in the ways that it matters.